Hi everyone, it's me Grace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking in depth about how I got into the University of Oxford. If you don't know, I'm going to be starting this October at the University of Oxford to read chemistry. And in this video, I want to share all my tips, everything I did from all the way in year 12, from even thinking about Oxford all the way to actually getting the offer and even achieving the grades. So that's what this video is going to be about. So if you're interested in applying to Oxford or even Cambridge because they're really similar, stay tuned and keep watching this video. So the first thing I want to talk about is grades, because you need really high grades to get into Oxford. Oxford is the best uni in the UK, even in the world, according to some league tables. And Oxford are looking for really academic students. They want to see that you're academically capable. And obviously grades are one way, but the biggest way to show that. If you're watching this and you're a GCSE student, then I would say try really hard in your GCSEs. I say this because I know I've been wanting Oxford for quite a while, and I was watching these videos when I was in year 10, year 11. So if you're at that stage now, then try really hard for your GCSEs. Most people I think will be in sixth form, so GCSEs are already done. Oxford generally like quite high GCSEs, but if you don't have that doesn't mean all nines. Like I didn't get all nines. I got 5 9s, 3 8s and 3 7s. So I think a lot of people think that you need to have only 9s, but you don't. I mean, obviously my grades were still quite good, so yeah, just try hard in your GCSEs. I think Oxford put a bit more emphasis on GCSEs than Cambridge, but even then GCSEs is definitely not the be all and end all. You know, if you have a few 6s, is definitely not the be all and end all, especially if you have amazing A-level predicted grades and the rest of your application show that you're a very capable student, then that's fine. But if you're at the GCSE stage, I do think it's worth mentioning because they do look at the GCSEs, you know. So the next set of grades are your predicted grades, because these are the grades you're actually going to be applying to uni with. It's important that your predicted grades, of course, meet the entry requirements. That's the bare minimum. So for chemistry, the grade requirements were A star, A star, A. So obviously I had to make sure that I was predicted at least A star, A star, A. If you can, try and be predicted above, you know, with the minimum entry requirements. A lot of people will be in that position. And even though their entry requirements are, let's say, AAA or A star AA, a lot of people get higher than that. So as in in their actual A level. So if you're applying with grades higher than that, then it's looking good. But as long as you have the minimum, that's perfectly fine. But just try your best to get the best predicted grades that you can. In my school, they were like, your predicted grades are mostly going to be decided based on your end of year 12 exams. So if you get a certain set of grades in your end of year 12 exams, chances are your predicted grades won't be more than one grade higher. So essentially they were like, do well in your end of year 12 exams if you want good predicted grades. So I worked really hard for those exams because obviously I needed to be predicted at least A star, A star, A, which is very high. And I literally was studying so hard, and I ended up actually topping the year, my whole year group, in terms of performance in those exams. So my year group at that time had over 500 people, around 500 people, and I ranked first in terms of I had the highest grade average, percentage wise. So yeah, I topped my year group for maths. So I did the best in the whole of the maths cohort. I think I was sixth for physics. By the way, this for physics there was close to 200 people, maths over 200 people. So these are a lot of people, and I was ranking. And I think chemistry I was 12th, and I think the year group was 200 and something people. So I ranked quite highly. The reason why I mentioned this is because those rankings were put in my reference, and I think that really helped my application. Like I said before, Oxford want very academic students. If they're reading in my reference that I came top of the year for maths, I came sixth for physics, you know, that's already showing that I'm very academic, that I'm very able. And so for me especially, that was quite good because for my course, there's no admissions assessment. So it's just you send in your application and then interview. So let's say my interview didn't go that well. It went okay, but it didn't go that well. And they're then reviewing my application. If they look at my interview and they look at my reference, that reference is just backing me. It's showing that actually, no, I'm quite smart. Do you know what I mean? So even if the interview didn't go as well as I had hoped, that reference would have been a bit of something to fall back on, something that the tutors would look on and be like, actually, maybe we should give her a chance because she literally topped the year for maths, you know? All I'm trying to say is, if you can, try and rank, you know, because, and if you do rank, obviously ask your school to put that in your reference, because that's really going to work in your favor. It's really going to show that you're a hardworking academic student that they want. I'm not trying to say that if you don't rank, you're not going to get in. Like, obviously that's not true. But if you do rank, like, it will work in your favor. I think it did in mine, because when I actually got my admissions feedback, they gave me a score for like my interview and then also a score for my UCAS application. So they rate your UCAS application and they rate your interviews, and then you basically just choose the students with the highest ratings, with the highest numbers, right? So I think the scale is from 1 to 9, with like 9 or 10, I think it's 9, but I'm not really sure. 9 being like the highest, like absolutely exceptional, amazing, we love this student, definitely 100% taking them. And I think my average interview, they gave me my average interview score, that was 8, and then my UCAS application was also 8. So my UCAS application was really strong, and I think like my personal statement as well as that reference is what made it really strong. So if you want that application to look strong, try your best and do your best in those end of years, and if you rank, that'll actually be really good for you. So yeah, the academics are very important. So if you want to get into Oxford, Cambridge, make sure you put your head down and you study hard. The next step of your application is obviously your personal statement. So for personal statement, I'll make another video just about personal statement. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe. But I'm just going to talk briefly about it. The Oxbridge personal statement has to be very, very academic, like 80 to 90% academic and 20 to 10% non-academic. In other words, they don't really care whether you did D.A.V., you know, whether you sing on the weekends. They don't really care about that. They want to see, what they want to see in that personal statement is your passion for your subject. And you don't do that by saying, yeah, I've been loving chemistry since I was 10. Ever since I watched this, I really like this. Or I just love chemistry so much because, no. Instead of talking about your passion, show your passion. In other words, show what you've done, what you've read. I read this book. I've read this academic journal. I've watched this lecture. I've gone to this seminar. That's going to show your interest. What they want to see is someone who's interested in their subject beyond A level. If you only talk about what you've learned in your A levels, that's not going to get you anywhere. You need to talk about what you've done beyond it. You need to do super curricular activities. That's very important for the personal statement. So read books, read academic journals, go to seminars, watch lectures, you know, do Olympiads. That's the best way to show that you actually are interested in the subject, because you're looking at it beyond the classroom, right? That's the best way to show that actually I really like this and I'm gonna be able to persevere and study this degree for 3 to 4 years, no matter how hard it gets, because I have that passion for it. So yeah, try and sign up. I know like I signed up to quite a few like personal statement workshops like that Oxford colleges were doing. There's lots of, I know Jesus College Oxford on YouTube have really good videos talking about the personal statement. Obviously it's worth watching that because that's from Oxford themselves, so you know their advice is like proper. And then also, yeah, there's a lot of people, I'm going to make my own personal statement video, but yeah, if your school don't provide you with that much support, mine did, then you can try online, try find a mentor. I'll talk a lot later about mentors. Try find people that can help refine your personal statement. At the end of the day, it is your statement, so try not to take everyone's advice with a pinch of salt. You know, it is yours, it should reflect you, you know. So yeah, that's what I'd say for personal statement. The third stage of your application is admissions assessments. Personally, for me, for my course, there was no admissions assessment at the time of me applying, which was in 2021, but most courses do have admissions assessments. So a lot of my friends around me were applying to Oxbridge. One of my close friends was applying for physics, so she had to do the PAT. Another friend of mine was doing medicine, so the BMAT, LNAT, TSA, so many things. There are so many different assessments. So start early. My advice for that is to start early. Try and start like preparing for them in the summer of year 12. I think they usually take place in around November. So the summer of year 12, prepare for them. Obviously do all the past papers that there are online. If there is like a specification, make sure you know all the content for it, and try find like courses online. There's lots of courses. For example, King's Factor. I actually did the King's Factor just to get better at my maths, but they show you like MAT questions and step questions. So if you're applying for maths, that's good. Also, I know my friend was in like a few PAT preparation workshops for the PAT. You know, there are many. Just always like be proactive, searching for things online to help you with that. Like I said before, academics are very important when applying to Oxbridge. So really put your all into this admissions assessment. If you do very well in it, that is boosting your chances, especially for Oxford. I know for Cambridge, if you don't do too well in the admissions assessment, they might still give you an interview. Like Cambridge is they give many interviews, but that just means that after interview, they reject a lot of students, but they give many interviews. But for Oxford, it's not really like that. It's very much like they have a threshold. Like anyone who scores below this gets rejected, doesn't get interviewed. It's very much like they're a bit more strict with this. So yeah, the admissions test is very important for Oxford. Like scoring high is very important, and the higher you score, the better. If you don't do too well in your interview, but you have a really high test score, you have really good reference, you know, awesome predicted grades, once again, they're gonna be like, maybe we should consider them, you know, like that will work well in your favor, because after you've done your interview, after you've done everything, they then look at your application as a whole, and then they decide whether or not to give you a place. So every single bit of the application, the personal statement, the reference, the admission test, the interview, all of that is contributing to whether or not you get a place. So you want to try your best in each stage. So the admissions assessment, don't leave it till late, because like, why would you do that? You know, try and start early, start preparing early. You know, in my school, actually, they did prep like from like April, May, to be honest, but it was very like little, like it wasn't too frequent. And then they started boosting up the intensity as you got closer. But yeah, try your best and work hard, do a bunch of practice, sign up to all the prep courses there are, and yeah, just smash it, go smash it. So the next part of your application is interview. So hopefully you've been invited to interview. And the interviews at Oxford are very academic in nature. I mean, that isn't a surprise. We all know Oxford want the academics. They don't care about why you've chosen your course, why you're a good leader, why Oxford. They don't really care about these things. If they ask you any of these questions at the beginning of your interview, it's going to be purely icebreaker. So it's not going to influence whether you get in or not. What they're actually scoring you on is how you do academically. So they'll give you problems to solve. If it's like a sciencey subject, they'll give you problems to solve, essentially see how you solve it. I guess if it's humanities, they'll maybe talk about some topics, some discussions, and you know, you guys will just talk in the interview. But what they want to see is how you think. So it's very important to think out loud. Say each step of your thought process, essentially. Don't keep it in. No matter how simple you think it is, no matter how stupid you think it is, don't keep it in, because let's say you're thinking the wrong way and you speak that out loud. They're not trying to trip you up. They want to help you. They might actually say, hold on, is that right? And they'll try and, you know, put you back on course. So it's important to think out loud. The other thing I want to say is try not to be too nervous. Like, really try not to be too nervous, because this is something that actually happened to my friend. Like, she was so nervous and uptight for her interviews, and she didn't perform as well because of those nerves. You know, she had 3 interviews, and her first one, you know, she was so nervous, so she really like kind of bombed that. And then after that, she was like, you know what, I don't even care, like I've messed up the first one. And then so in the next 2, she was a lot more relaxed, because she felt like, oh, what the hell. And then in those next 2, she actually enjoyed the interview, like she performed much better. And when she asked for the feedback, that was shown in the scores that they gave her. But she ended up not getting in because of that first one. You know, it really brought her down. So try not to be too nervous. Think of it like a conversation. Like, think of it as an opportunity. You're able to talk about this subject that you love so much with some of the world's best, you know, people for that subject. Think of that as an opportunity. Like, this is going to be fun. You know, I know it's Oxford. I know that, you know, chances are you really want to go, right? So it's going to feel, there's a lot of pressure, but the more pressure and the more anxious you are, that's only going to set you back. Obviously, nerves is normal. Like, you're not going to be 100% nerve-free. I get that. I was nervous in mine. But I feel like I wasn't that nervous, because I really told myself, okay, I'm going to talk about this subject I love so much with these people. You know, this is just like, it's like a discussion. It's a mock tutorial. When I thought of it that way, it made it better for me. So instead of thinking of it as, oh my gosh, an interview, like a test, oh my gosh, I thought of it like a mock tutorial. If you don't know, tutorials are how they teach at Oxford. So it was like you and 1 or 2 other people and 1 academic, and you guys go through problems or go through essays, essentially. That's one of the main ways that they teach in Oxford. So essentially the interview is them seeing whether or not you would thrive in that environment, whether or not you're able to work well in that environment. So it's like a mock tutorial. So when I thought of it that way, I was like, okay, they're teaching me, like they just want to see how I think. They just want to see how I, go about some chemistry problems. And, taking deep breaths, before the interview, deep breaths, and then just going into it. And remember, you have gotten this far. They have looked at your application, they've looked at your grades, they've looked at your personal statement, they've looked at your test score, and they've said, you know what? This person has a chance. They're interviewing you because they think that you have the potential to do well. When you think of it that way, you're like, do you know what? All I need to do now is show them that I do, like show them that I deserve this place. That's it. But they really believe that actually you can very well study at this university. You just have to show them that. Just show them what you can do. I will make a video for interviews as well, more in depth. I'll talk about my interview experience, the kind of questions that I was asked, stuff like that. So if you want to see that, give this video a like, and also don't forget to subscribe. And also try to sign up for mentors. Try to find mentors. So there's Zero Gravity. I actually applied to Zero Gravity and I didn't get in. I applied twice and I didn't get a mentor. But Unipair, I got a mentor through Unipair. I think that one is only Oxbridge actually, and it's kind of like student run. So Unipair, I got a mentor through that. I also got a mentor through I just typed in Oxford Chemistry on LinkedIn, and I found, like, I literally just messaged this guy. I was like, hi, like, a student there, obviously. I was like, hi, I'm interested in applying to Oxford, like, can you give me some tips? And he was so nice. He was like, oh, we can do some mock interviews, I can look over your personal statement. He was very nice. So I honestly hit the jackpot with him. And that was simply by me literally messaging him. Like, he didn't sign up to be a mentor, but he was willing to help, So look on LinkedIn, Zero Gravity, Unipair. I think they're just try and look for some other mentorship schemes so that they can give you some mock interviews. Because actually the things that I did, I think I had a few mock interviews with school. I had 2 with school, and one of them in school, we looked over this thing, and that thing actually kind of, it didn't come up exactly, but it was a similar concept. Like, it was you needed similar skills to solve the problem that actually came up in my real interview. So I was so grateful for that mock interview. Literally, like, mock interviews can be really, really important and really, really helpful. So try your best to get as many as you can. And then hopefully you've gotten an offer. That's literally the last step. So I went to Brampton Manor. I don't know if you guys know it because we're quite popular, especially in London. Like, we've been on the news quite a few times. Over 90% of my year group got only A's and A stars. Literally at A level. Like, the people of Brampton are very, very smart. And so many people from Brampton applied to Oxbridge and didn't get in. Like, some of the smartest people that I know, that I was literally 100% sure they would get in, didn't. And that doesn't mean that they're not smart. They're still going to really good unis. Like, my friend who didn't get into Oxford for physics, she's going to Imperial. She got 3 A stars. Like, she's so intelligent, one of the smartest people that I know, So definitely, if you don't get in, it doesn't mean that you're not intelligent. It might just mean that, frankly, it was oversubscribed, like it's really competitive, or maybe like you don't work as well, in like that environment, like in that interview, like you wouldn't really work well in that tutorial environment. Or really, there's actually an element of luck in it. Like, maybe on the day of your interview, you weren't feeling that good, like genuinely, you had an off day, like what can you do? Or the question that came up in your interview, really, like you know it very well and you're quite good at this, that would have been great. Or maybe it's something that you're so bad at, you're just bad at it, There's actually an element of luck in it. So don't stress too much, but obviously just try your hardest. And then after that, it's outside of your control. If it's meant for you, it will happen. If it's not meant for you, it won't happen, And then if you've got an offer, congratulations. After that, it's just about putting in the work to get the grades. Personally, for me, like when I was revising for my A levels, every time I was watching Netflix and I was watching it for a bit too long, I would think about my Oxford offer, and I'm like, literally, I'll close the laptop and I go work, because imagine you've done the hard bit. Like, getting the offer is the hardest part. After that, it's just about meeting your predicted grades. Like, you've been predicted these grades, so that means that you are capable. So it's just about putting in the work to make sure that you get them. And yeah, that is my advice for anybody who's applying to Oxford or Cambridge. This is how I got in, and this is the advice that I would give to anyone who's applying. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. I will be replying. Give this video a like if you liked it, if it was helpful. Also share it with anyone who's thinking of applying, who's currently going through an application process. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more academic and Oxford content. I'm definitely going to be vlogging my life when I am there as an Oxford student. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!